Mikel Arteta refuses to criticise Arsenal players, but wants them to look in the mirror after FA Cup exit. Arsenal were knocked out of the FA Cup by Championship side Southampton, as their chances of a treble are now over. Gunners are 9 points clear in the Premier League and favourites for the Champions League. Mikel Arteta has called for his players to look in the mirror. Mikel Arteta refused to criticise his players after defeat at Southampton, but challenged them to look in the mirror and make sure the season will still be a successful one for Arsenal. In their first game since losing the Carabao Cup final, Arteta's team put in another tame performance as St sensed and took their opportunity with goals from Ross Stewart and substitute Shea Charles. The Gunners are currently 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League ahead of second-placed Manchester City, but their title rivals have a game in hand and host Arsenal at the Etihad in a few weeks' time. Mathematically, it's very much still in Arsenal's hands. However, with so many players out of form and injuries mounting again, the noise around Arteta's side and questions about their title credentials will only grow louder. Arteta said, "I love my players, what they have done for 9 months. I'm not going to criticise them for losing here. What they are putting their bodies through, some didn't have to be here today. I'll defend them more than ever. If someone has to take responsibility, that's me. We have the most beautiful period ahead of us. Normally you have 2 or 3 moments like this in a season. This is the first moment with a level of difficulty. Let's stand up and make ourselves count. No excuses about players that are missing or that are here with issues. Let's look at ourselves in the mirror, accept the situation, rebel against it, and go forward with clarity." Asked what his message is for the players, Arteta added, "Give them clarity and conviction. Trust in our players and believe in what we do. Continue to do that with little tweaks that every game demands. We must maintain the attitude and energy at the highest possible level. That is critical to perform at the level we need to win matches." Arteta's injury-disrupted Gunners arrived at St Mary's as overwhelming favourites a fortnight on from their final defeat to City, but suffered more injury issues during the game when Gabriel Magalhaes limped off with a knee issue. On the injury, Arteta said, "He felt something. We will assess him, but when a player asks to be substituted, it's never good news." Arteta insists Southampton's direct approach did not catch him by surprise, but the Arsenal boss said he was confused by the way his defenders failed to deal with the Championship side's long balls. Ben White misjudged the flight of a cross for Southampton's opener. Although he was not alone in making an error like this, his was simply the one that got punished. "We didn't manage the long balls well enough, which is something very strange," Arteta told BBC Sport. "In the first half, we just let the ball through us, and they were 1 against 1. The way we conceded the second goal was very similar. Very difficult to explain, but it is credit to them." He added, "Southampton are going to Wembley, and we are not. The team had some very good moments. We didn't capitalise on those moments, and the way we conceded the goals is not at the level we have shown. That is the reason we have lost the game." There is going to be so much noise around Arsenal. It was only a couple of weeks ago that people were saying Arsenal could do the quadruple, but now they are into competitions. After what they did earlier on against Liverpool, it looks like Man City are going to push them all the way for the league. The Champions League, anyone could win that. For Arsenal, the most disappointing thing for me was their attitude. This season, Arsenal have been excellent defensively and in transitions. Their shape and their effort have been as good as anyone's in the Premier League. So for them to turn up the way they did was really poor. Arsenal's nervousness about taking the final step to glory seems to be playing out in individual errors being made at key moments. At Wembley, it was Kepa spilling across for Nico O'Reilly to score Man City's opener. At St Mary's, Ben White mistimed his jump to allow Ross Stewart to power in the first for Southampton. That's now 8 goals from Arsenal errors in the past 23 games. According to Opta, there was just one in the 28 games before that. We didn't manage the long balls well enough, which is something very strange, Arteta told the BBC after the loss at Southampton. In the first half, we just let the ball through us, and they were 1-against-1. The way we conceded the second goal was very similar. Whether it is down to a change in centre-back personnel, with William Saliba on the bench on Saturday, or disruption with David Raya playing behind the backline against City or Southampton, it is an issue opposition sides will be zoning in on. Arsenal's list of injuries isn't as long as it may have been, given the extent of their international withdrawals. But key players are either unavailable or lacking full fitness,